Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Making Your Business Invincible, a webinar hosted by Stellar Asset Management in conjunction with Maple Accountancy. I'm delighted to see so many of you here this morning and would like to thank you all for attending. Whether you are a guest of Maple or Stellar, a business owner, accountant or financial advisor, we hope there will be something of value for you this morning, and we look forward to working with you soon. My name is Matthew Steiner, and I am one of the directors at Stellar and will be your host this morning. Now, this webinar is one of a series of 4 that we are hosting over the coming weeks. And over that time, we will be looking at the life cycle of a business, the concerns that a business owner may have during and after his tenureship, and the opportunities that they should be aware of and could benefit from. By the end, we aim to demonstrate that adopting a collaborative approach to this area of planning not only creates a far better outcome for business owners and their families, but also creates opportunities for financial advisors and business writing opportunities, as planning of this kind will unlock further financial and estate planning opportunities and referral and the potential for referrals. This morning, I'm delighted to introduce you to Jennifer Priestley, the Managing Director of Maple Accountancy. Jenny and her team offer a bespoke accountancy and tax advisory service, which is focused on family businesses and which looks to provide solutions that address both the needs of the business and, just as importantly, the business owner and their family. So good morning, Jenny. Jenny will be delivering the main section of our webinar in a few minutes' time, and will introduce us to Andrew, sharing with us his story and how we made his business invincible. Now, it's great to see that we've got so many new faces here today. And for those of you that haven't met us before, Stellar is an investment management boutique that provides inheritance tax services that utilize business relief legislation. Our services create the opportunity for clients to be free of inheritance tax after only 2 years, whilst retaining control of their assets through their lifetime. Wealth preservation drives our investment philosophy, and our estate planning services provide a combination of diversification and choice for potential investors. We achieve this choice by spreading investors' capital as widely as possible over sectors and assets that are non-stock market correlated. Examples of these sectors include forestry, farming, hotels, golf and leisure resorts, and residential property development opportunities, to name but a few. To support advisors and investors in their estate planning journey, we have established a partner services program, which comprises the skills and experience of the legal, tax, and trustee professional services, with other complementary planning services such as long-term care, funeral planning, cash flow modelling, and digital administration. The range of inheritance tax services that we offer allows you to tailor a solution to match your requirements far more specifically, or indeed the requirements of those you are advising. And this is quite unusual in this space. As specialists in business relief qualifying investments, we realise the importance of getting this advice right first time. In our experience, we find that a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't always work. A combination of specialist advice is often required, and without coordination, that advice can lack cohesion. Family business planning can be very complicated and often requires a joined-up approach with input from multiple professionals to achieve success. As I hope this slide demonstrates, the variety and complexity of advice available can be overwhelming, and choosing the right people to advise you can be a minefield in itself. Business owners can find it hugely beneficial to work with the right advisor, and creating trusted partners to deliver best advice and engineer the best outcome for their business and themselves is critical. But if these relationships are not already in place, who do they turn to? Equally, we understand that a financial advisor alone cannot provide all the advice and support that is required. So unfortunately, this means that sometimes things end up in the too hard basket and an opportunity is lost. Through its partner services program, we seek to address some of these issues by providing a variety of trusted partners for you to collaborate with for these essential areas of planning. Stellar Partner Services was established to provide a framework for advisors to participate more widely in all aspects of inheritance tax and estate planning, and provides a pool of trusted partners for you to call upon. We hope that our partner services will be a great tool for these advisors who wish to advise clients on wealth transfer and develop new business opportunities with clients and professional services firms. The benefits for advisors include being able to offer specialist advice, and that would enable you to deliver the best outcome for your clients, to strengthen your estate planning expertise, to bridge any technical knowledge gaps you may have, and to advise on larger, more complicated cases. And finally, collaboration with trusted professional partners to unlock planning opportunities. And I hope we're going to be able to demonstrate for you that this morning for you. So today we're going to be focused on the collaboration between a business and taxation specialist and a financial advisor who, using Stellar services and our partner offering, were able to create together a holistic plan for the owner of a small family business. We will illustrate for you how easy it is to build a team of trusted partners around you to execute core advice, to develop a cohesive, holistic, tax-efficient, intergenerational plan, to unlock new financial planning opportunities, and provide advice, support, and reassurance to clients in this complex area of planning. The breadth of our partner offering, when combined with the range of inheritance tax services we offer, is something that's truly unique in this space, and we look forward to developing future opportunities together with you. Maple Accountancy is one of our long-standing trusted partners, and so Jenny is well placed to bring our service to life for you. So I'll now hand you over to Jenny so that she can introduce herself properly and also to introduce our client story today. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Matthew, for that introduction. Maple was founded in 1989 by myself. The aim then, as it is now, is to be a trusted partner to owner-managed businesses and their owners, to be, in fact, that one-stop shop as much as possible for all their business needs. If we can't help, then we aim to know a person who can. Stellar Partner Services has been invaluable in helping us to do this. We've got a vast experience in tax advisory services, including offshore, both companies and structures, and in particular, R&D tax relief, and also stamp duty reclaims, which are becoming quite prominent at the moment. My team and I are passionate about providing our clients with up-to-date financial information and relevant KPIs so that they can focus on running their business efficiently and as profitable as possible. We want our clients to succeed. Quite a few of our clients are family-owned businesses, and we are now advising the next generation within the family, having successfully exited the founders. If you have a family and a business, you are a family-owned business. Whether or not other family members are directly involved in the business, and whether or not you are in business with a non-family member. The main point to be aware of is that what happens in your business has a direct impact on your family, and what happens in your family has a direct impact on your business. We've all witnessed the demise of a business due to ill health, death, or a divorce. For a family-owned business and the family, the stakes are high if you don't look at how to protect and future-proof both. We've had with COVID-19 a hard and unexpected lesson on what can happen if people aren't prepared. Whilst we can't address all the what ifs during this webinar, we will look at some of the key areas that you should undertake and that will help you to reduce any risks and get the business and its owner invincible. To help get things in perspective, I would like to go through a case study that we have. I've of course changed the names, where we were able to help and deliver a brilliant outcome for both the business owner, the business, his family and his advisors, and this was all achieved within quite a short time frame. Andrew was referred to us by a stellar partner firm. He'd had a serious health scare, which made him realise that he wasn't invincible, which came as a bit of a shock, as most entrepreneurs really tend to believe that they are. He realised that if something had happened to him, that both his family and his business were ill prepared and ill provided for. He needed to get his affairs in order fast to protect both in case the worst did happen. He was age 50. He was living with a long-standing partner, Karen, with whom he had a son, but they weren't married. He ran a successful limited company with non-family members as shareholders. When Andrew came to us, he and his advisors had numerous concerns, namely, what would have happened if he had died? How would Karen and his son be provided for? How would his business continue without him? They'd been developing some very interesting products with huge potential and were on a brink of a large MOD contract. And of course, he wanted Karen and his son to have the benefit of all that hard work. They were interested in how to get the business ready for sale. The health scare had made him realise that there were more important things in life, and he wanted to get that work-life balance sorted. He wanted a roadmap that would not only protect him and his family and his business, but also give clarity to the future. It's really important to get a deep understanding of where a client is now and where they want to be, so that a plan can be developed to take them through the different stages of a business cycle. On the slide, we have a very simplified version of a business cycle. And with Andrew, it was obvious that he hadn't got the firm foundations for either his business or his family. When we met with Andrew, with his advisor, we undertook a detailed and extensive fact find. We reviewed his current structure, agreements he had in place, what insurances, pensions he's already had, and I believe more importantly, what his overall objectives were. The areas that came to light in this particular situation were around his will, business lasting power of attorney, shareholders protection, all of the agreements, his pension, life cover, health insurance, and the tax efficiency of his business, and also the wholly and only test, which will be relevant on an exit. What we discovered when we were working with Andrew and his existing advisors, and we quickly identified the areas that needed to be addressed urgently. He had no will, no business lasting power of attorney, no shareholders protection. Agreements were out of date, not really fit for purpose. There'd been no R&D tax claim, despite being eligible, and in respect to 1 year, they were nearly out of time. There was no adequate pension provision, and there was really high reserves, cash reserves in the business. The implications of what this would have meant would have been with the no will, as we all know, all his assets, shares in the business, property, etc., would have been shared out as laid out in law and not as he would have wished. In Andrew's case, this would have meant that Karen, the love of his life, the mother of his child, would not have got all of his wealth as they weren't married, which was certainly not what Andrew wanted or intended to happen. And remember, if you die without a will and have no close living relatives, the money goes to the state. Last year, the government received £8 million in money and property because people died without a will. Not something that anybody, I think, wants to have happen to their hard-earned cash. I certainly don't. Whilst Andrew had a good shareholders agreement in place, the business had several non-family shareholders. There was a really good appendix detailing how the business was to be valued on the death of a shareholder. However, there was no mechanism in place to actually have the funds to do this. This could have meant that if he died, it would have been difficult for the business to actually fulfill that agreement, and the business could have failed. His family wouldn't have received any monies for his shares again, and that was not something Andrew wanted to happen. Karen would have been looking at her empty purse. During our extensive review, we realised that the business had spent the last few years working on a prototype product, which the MOD were interested in. However, there hadn't been any consideration given to the opportunity to make a research and development tax claim. Whilst we were out of time in respect to some of the earlier years, which cost them around £400,000 in loss relief, we were able to look at obtaining tax relief of circa £750,000 for the 2 years within the time limits. That meant he didn't have any corporation tax to pay, and we had losses that we were able to carry forward. In fact, he hasn't paid any corporation tax for the last 3 years by being able to make further claims and to increase the tax losses being carried forward. This was a bit of an unexpected bonus. As I said, the majority of the agreements were out of date, and they did not now reflect the true wishes and needs of Andrew and his fellow shareholders and his family. There was surplus cash in the business of about £500,000, and there were concerns that if the business was sold, that HMRC might challenge these cash reserves and say that they were an investment and not for cash flow purposes. This could have resulted in the cash being excluded from the entrepreneur's relief and a higher level of tax being paid than was necessary. As you know, this area is always a minefield, and you never quite know what stance HMR are going to take on it. What we did, working with Andrew, we were able to put together key recommendations that would address all of his immediate concerns and future-proof his business. We put together a detailed roadmap with actions and strategies to be delivered together with their priorities. We reviewed the business structure for tax efficiency, implemented improvements which reduced his overall tax burden. We'll go into some of those at our next webinars. We undertook a company evaluation to support the recommendations for the shareholders' protection insurance. We also undertook a R&D claim, which gave him over £750,000 in tax relief, improving his cash flow considerably for not only that year, but future years. I'll go into R&D in a bit more detail on the next slide. We then referred Andrew back to his other advisors to deliver on the matters that were in their area of expertise for their specialised services. Research and development tax credits, even though they've been around for many years, aren't being claimed as much as they could be. It's still an area that not many accountants talk about, and business owners don't think it's relevant to them. They were introduced back in 2000 for SMEs, and as at 2013, there was over £9.5 billion worth of relief being claimed, within 28,000 different companies benefiting, so a substantial benefit to those. To be eligible, the claimant has to be a limited company. It doesn't apply to partnerships or sole traders. The criteria is that a business must have undertaken a collection of activities aimed at overcoming a scientific uncertainty that could not have been easily deduced by a competent professional in that field. In other words, the business tried to do something that hasn't been done before. Please don't let the word scientific put you off and think it's all labs and white coats and a normal business can't claim. That's simply not true. A couple of more pragmatic questions that might be more helpful in establishing whether a business might be eligible for R&D tax credit would be: have you taken a punt on something that has or hasn't worked? Have you had a project in the business aimed at creating something new and where you've spent a considerable sum of money? All wages, bonuses, pensions, PAYE tax are allowed, as well as software and consumables, and also to some extent subcontract staff. It doesn't matter where the money was spent, so long as the company is based in the UK. A business can also claim on items of a capital nature, which under normal circumstances we would be limited with the capital allowances or the annual investment allowance. For example, if there was a need to buy or construct buildings for specific use for an R&D project, such as a testing area or a clean room. Those costs also can form part of the R&D claim. And if after, say, a few months or a year or two, the project ends, you don't need to pay anything back on a successful claim. Think of a claim as being based on the day-to-day operational costs. It's not a grant, it's designed by government as a tax reduction on qualifying expenses. We've been successful in quite a few diverse claims, such as a martial arts school. They developed a punch bag. Don't ask me what its benefits were. I've never been near a punch bag in my life. And also a company which installed white goods in new builds. They developed an interface which made sure that the compliance issues on installation were addressed and carried out. You will be surprised what actually does fit within the criteria. If you're interested, drop me an email and we'll get back to you. The solicitors were able to put together a will, a business lasting power of attorney. They revised the shareholders agreement and made it relevant. They drafted a directors agreement, and they updated the memorandum and articles of association to bring it into line with the 21st century. The financial advisor, the proposal we gave to them was to look at the increase in pension contributions to get shareholders protection in place and make sure that that was in line with the shareholders agreement, so that money was available to the company to pay the estate for the shares in case in event of a death. Renew and improve the life cover. There was also recommendations for the business relief qualifying investments for the surplus cash in the business. This would have been a serious issue in the event of a planned sale. I'll hand you back to Matthew, who will explain what happened in more detail.
Good. Excuse me. Thanks very much, Jenny. We've been in contact with the financial advisor throughout the whole process, and he really appreciated the fact that this whole thing had been coordinated by Jenny and the other partners she recommended. So the feedback from the advisor and, in fact, the client was really good. The advisor felt supported by the professional team that we had assembled, and Andrew, the client, was already feeling much, much better about his current circumstances and was keen to improve things even further. Now, as you've already heard Jenny say, she made a strong recommendation to the client to reduce the surplus capital in the business in line with the wholly and mainly test for business relief qualification. This recommendation for the surplus capital, which represented a substantial amount, was passed back to the financial advisor, who, working with Stella, was able to recommend a solution to meet the client's needs. In fact, the advisor had already had a presentation from one of our team on our business services, completed his due diligence, and we had provided him with a bespoke illustration specific to Andrews Trading Limited. So, as a quick reminder, all our inheritance tax services utilise business relief, And so before I tell you what we did, I'm just going to do a quick refresh on that for you. So business relief is long-standing legislation which was originally introduced in the 1976 Finance Act and which provides 100% relief from inheritance tax after 2 years. Most businesses that provide a trade or service will automatically qualify for this relief, and the legislation was originally designed to protect family-run or the succession of family-run businesses from inheritance tax. It's still widely referred to as business property relief, so the two terms are interchangeable. Now, as a planning tool, business relief provides several benefits to investors. The key benefits are on the slide, but in our experience, the 2 years, freedom from IHT after 2 years, combined with the fact that investors keep control of their capital and have access to both income and capital in the future, are two of the major reasons why our investors choose this route. For business owners, the ability to diversify by adding additional qualifying activities to use up the surplus capital, as we've described, can be very powerful. A consideration here for advisors, though, is ensuring that the business activities are structured correctly to ensure compliance with the legislation. So in the case of Andrews Trading Limited, I mentioned we have a specific service for business owners. It's called, unsurprisingly, the Stellar Business Inheritance Tax Service. And we've got two options really here. The first is our maintain strategy, which is really for owners who are investing through their own business, like Andrew. The second option is called enable, and that's where owners have sold their business and now have a lot of cash which they want to reinvest and continue to protect. So obviously in the case that we've described, the maintain strategy was the most relevant, the most appropriate, and the advisor made a recommendation for Andrews Trading to invest his capital on that basis, in line with the advice from Jenny and Maple. We're going to cover looking at the enable strategy in a later seminar. So here's Andrews Trading. This was the situation that was inherited, if you like, lots of surplus capital. And actually what happened was, over a period of months, the company began to invest into business relief qualifying activities, which included, actually in this example, a mix of forestry, hotels, and property development activities over a period of time. So it doesn't happen straight away, it's fed in over a period of months. At the end of this process, the advisor was happy that the surplus cash in the business had been fully invested. A reasonable cash balance remained for cash flow purposes. Andrew was in a much stronger position for qualification on the full value of the business, and when he came to sell, that it would also qualify for entrepreneur's relief. So hopefully, job done. Jenny, I think I'm handing back to you for this slide.
So as our case study showed, by Maple working closely with the financial advisor, we're able to put together a comprehensive action plan for Andrew. And working alongside the other Stellar partner firms to deliver a robust solution. The outcome was not only tax efficient, which is always something I like to do, but it enabled Andrew to grow his wealth whilst protecting his loved ones and his business. The legal team took care of the agreements, undertook the will, the business lasting power of attorney, to give the business and the family security. The financial advisors made sure that the right insurances were in place, and more importantly, aligned the agreement so that the shareholders' protection was aligned with the shareholders' agreement. The pension shortfall was addressed, and actually the surplus cash generated from the R&D tax credits, a lump sum was put in. Stellar Inheritance Tax Service was invaluable in dealing with the issues of the surplus cash within the business in the most effective ways. This was a key factor in securing the business for now and preparing it for the next stage of its business life cycle. It really does pay to start with the end in mind. What is your planned exit? Whom do you want to leave your wealth to? These are important questions. In our next webinars, we'll look at how to get the maximum value for your business so that you can leave even more wealth. In our case study, using this approach and using the Stellar Partner Services, we were able to give Andrew peace of mind, make sure Karen and her son were protected, give them the financial security and stability, and place solid foundations for his business. All, of course, by paying less tax as well. For Andrew, this was life-changing. He had clarity and a workable plan to achieve his goals. He and his business were truly invincible. Over to you, Matthew.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Sorry, I should have been on that slide while you were saying that, Jenny. Great. Well, I hope that's been a useful example. One of the reasons why we set the partner services up really was to provide a methodology for advisors to unlock these types of cases, because in our experience, not having a robust team of people around you or them to be able to affect this advice was causing the blockages. And what we've been, or the evidence, I suppose, over the last few months is that when you work in tandem, the whole process moves far more smoothly. So it presents great opportunities for, developing professional connections, developing a referral process with a new partner, and also, unlocking greater opportunities with the individuals you're talking to. Out of this work, Jenny was actually referred to the other partners in the business. The financial advisor benefited from additional work with them, both through the business and also personally. And it really does have a cascade effect in terms of unlocking opportunities, ultimately though by doing a really good job for the underlying client. We've given time and we've reached that point now where we have any questions. Okay, so someone's asked, how do I get in touch if I'd like to know more, and do you offer a free initial consultation? Jenny, should we start with you?
Yes, I think at the end of the thing there'll be our links to how to get in touch. Just email us, contact us, and yes, the initial conversations now, not meetings, are free. So yes, please just get in touch. Great.
And obviously to contact Stella through our website, we've got a team of the business development managers that can come out and support and meet you and chat through things. Someone's also asked about the business service, the enable part, and how that works. We're actually one of a very small number of providers that use the personal trading company model for our inheritance tax structuring, if you like. So we have a service that's for private investors that have never owned a business, where we create a company for them, and then we fill that company full of business relief qualifying activities, as I mentioned. For people that have sold a business and have realised that surplus capital, we can actually create a brand new business using personal trading companies. And then they are able to roll that money from the sale of the first business into the new company. And sometimes as a result of that, we can utilise additional legislation to defer capital gains tax and maintain inheritance tax. So going down that route with using a personal trading company is very effective when it comes to dealing with taxation resulting from businesses, from companies. Okay, another question here, sorry. Financial advisor with a potential client interested in R&D, Jenny. Yes. How is best to go about it, and do we have any information you could share?
Yes, if you let me have their details, I'll make contact with them. We've also got some brochures, etc. we can share and talk through, see if it's relevant.
And I think we often do a lot of hosted meetings where we bring people together in the first meeting. That's quite a nice way of doing it. So just email us and let us know how you'd like to proceed. Great, thank you very much. So what's next? I'm going to share the next set of seminars with you in just 2 seconds. There's a whole load of information available on our website. We've got brochures and information about the partner services and the people that you can connect with there. We've got obviously our inheritance tax services, and you'll see that compared to other providers, we've got quite a wide range. One of the things I think that sets Stella apart from others is the fact that we have a number of different routes to achieving the same objective. And that means that you can actually match the requirements of the client far more closely to the solution that you're recommending. In terms of the support from Maple, we're going to be sending, I think, some details to you after this seminar, after this webinar, and there's a whole load of information again on the Maple website. So just do have a look. Next, we've got the next webinar, is on the 18th of February, again at 10 o'clock. That one is called Preparing a Business for Maximum Value. And Jenny, what are we talking about in that one?
So I'm going to talk about some tips to increase the EBITDA so that people get a higher price, looking at formulating the plan, the use of holding companies, getting the right shareholders in place, getting the right shareholder percentages in place, and getting people to think about it early so that you get a better outcome the earlier you think about it.
Great. Okay. Then we've got the 4th of March, again at 10 o'clock, exploring the types of business sale and a tax efficient exit. We've already got quite a lot of people subscribed for that one, so do get in. And then finally, on the 18th of March, what's next after selling a business? And again, this has been an area that comes up all the time when people have, taken value, particularly if they're still relatively young. What do they do next? So in addition to Jenny, we're going to be joined by a guest speaker called Modwena Rees-Mogg, who has a number of different routes that, particularly for non-executive directors and things like that, that people might consider. So hopefully there's going to be lots of content and value there for you to participate in. I believe we're going to be sending the slides to you all afterwards. If not, they'll be available on our website, but our contact details are there. You can also connect with Jenny directly through our website, should you wish to, under the services that she's under, which is Business Services and R&D. And other than that, I'd just like to thank you all very much for attending.
Thank you.
I hope you found the session useful. Jenny, final words?
Thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
I hope I tried to make R&D slightly interesting.
Good. All right. Thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Have a good day.